Okay, we're all recording. Everybody wave at the camera. Okay, let me share my screen and pull up the document. All right, so notice it says assignment. It's due October 25th. There is an assignment attached to this, and you'll see that when we open it up. The Undercover Parent Reading 1, which means we're going to read it multiple times. All right. Okay, guys, so before we get started, I want you to notice a couple of things. All right, first off is this comes from NewYorkTimes.com. So New York Times is a newspaper in New York. It's one of the nationally more prominent newspapers. Now, back in the old days when people actually read printed newspapers, you know, newspapers are printed in different sections. You have your front page section, which shows the news. Then you have like your sports section and the various different sections, okay? One of the sections is the opinion, okay? And so in the opinion, you have two types of articles. You have opinion pieces written by just, you know, writers. And then you have what's called the editorial. The editorial is an opinion story that is unsigned. In other words, it doesn't really say who wrote it. And the way that you understand it is that it's the official opinion of the newspaper. Okay, so if you read an unsigned opinion piece in a newspaper or the online newspaper, that means that that's the official opinion of the editorial staff of the newspaper. Okay, so this one is just a regular opinion piece because we see the guy's name, Harlan Coben. All right, so that's something that will come up later when we're doing this. It's an opinion piece. Okay. The Undercover Parent by Harlan Coben, NewYorkTimes.com, March 16th, 2008. Now, the fact that this was written in 2008 and now it's 2020, it's even getting close to 2021. What that means is that the information in here may be a little outdated. Now, just because something is outdated doesn't mean that it's wrong or irrelevant. Okay, but when you see a date that is, you know, more than a couple of years old, you got to start thinking that maybe it's not the most up-to-date thing. And that's what I want you to be looking out for as you read through this. Okay, then we have 7 vocabulary words. All right, let's go over those real quickly just so that when you see them, you'll kind of have an idea. Surveillance is a continuous observation of a place, person, group, or an ongoing activity in order to gather information. So just watching and observing somebody to get information. Okay, the term bureaucrat. There are different definitions for this, but the one that fits the usage in the article here is an official who works by a fixed routine without exercising intelligent judgment. So someone who's just kind of a worker cog in the big machine, in the big government machine. Okay, to berate is to scold or rebuke. Eavesdropping, to listen secretly to a private conversation. Okay, lexicon. The lexicon is the vocabulary of a particular language, field, social class, person, etc. The primary definition of lexicon is a dictionary, but the way it's being used here, the lexicon is vocabulary related to a specific field. Okay, next one, anonymity, having the ability to remain unknown. It's the same word as anonymous. And then finally, knee-jerk reaction. It's kind of an older phrase. I'm not sure that you know, kids these days are really using this phrase. But a knee-jerk reaction is acting quickly without thinking. It's like, you know, when someone grabs your knee and you kind of jerk, you know, you have that knee jerk reaction. So it's acting quickly without thinking. Okay, before we actually move into the article, any questions on the vocab? Okay. And you'll notice I have questions embedded in here. That's your assignment to go back and answer those, to read it again and go back and answer them. I'm not going to stop and do those questions during this reading. I'm going to read it. I'll make comments as we go. Some of them may be related to these questions and some of them may not be. But rereading it and answering the questions is your job for after today. Okay, so you guys go ahead and follow along with me just to reinforce everything that you hear. All right. Hey, by the way, when I highlight the text like that, does that help you guys pay attention better? Someone give me a thumbs up or a yes. Does it make a difference? Yes. Okay. All right. Thank you, whoever said that. I'll continue to do it. Okay, guys, you follow along. Not long ago, friends of mine confessed over dinner that they had put spyware on their 15-year-old son's computer so they could monitor all he did online. At first, I was repelled at this invasion of privacy. Now, after doing a fair amount of research, I get it. Make no mistake, if you put spyware on your computer, you have the ability to log every keystroke your child makes and thus a good portion of his or her private world. That's what spyware is, at least the parental monitoring kind. You don't have to be an expert to put it on your computer. You just download the software from a vendor and you will receive weekly reports, daily, whatever, showing you everything your child is doing on the machine. Scary, but a good idea. Most people won't even consider it. Okay, let me stop here for just a moment. Okay, so he defines what spyware is, and he says that's kind of a scary thought, you know, you knowing everything your child does online. And he says, but a good idea. Most parents won't even consider it. So if you had to guess, is Harlan Coben in favor of using spyware, or is he not in favor? What do you guys think?
I think he is.
Yeah, I mean, he acknowledges that it's scary, but it's a good idea. Okay, let's continue. Maybe it's the word spyware. It brings up associations of Dick Cheney sitting in a dark room, rubbing his hands together and reading your most private thoughts. But this isn't the government we're talking about. This is your family. It's a mistake to confuse the two. Loving parents are doing the surveillance here, not faceless bureaucrats. And most parents already monitor their children, watching over their home environment, their school. Hey guys, I want you to notice, I got a couple of links up here. This reference right here to Dick Cheney is outdated. And I'm guessing that most of you will know who he is or what this reference is about. So I put two links and look at both of them. Today's overprotective, oh, sorry, let me just go back. The links, if you click on the number like that, you have to click on that, and then if you click on the link, it goes to it, okay? So make sure you do that, both of them, especially the first one. All right, let's continue. Today's overprotective parents fight their kids' battles on the playground, berate coaches about playing time, and fill out college applications. Yet when it comes to chatting with pedophiles or watching beheadings or gambling away their entire life savings, then their children deserve independence. So we got a real contrast here between what parents actually do versus what they let go. Okay, pay careful attention to that. It's an important point. Some will say that you should simply trust your child, that if he is old enough to go on the internet, he is old enough to know the dangers. Trust is one thing, but surrendering parental responsibility to a machine that allows the entire world access to your home borders on negligence. Some will say that it's better just to use parental blocks that deny access to risky sites. I have found that they don't work. Children know how to get around them. But more than that, and this is where it gets tough, I want to know what's being said in email and instant messages and in chat rooms. There are two reasons for this. First, we've all read about the young boy unknowingly conversing with a pedophile or the girl who was cyberbullied to the point where she committed suicide. Would a watchful eye have helped? We rely in the real world on teachers and parents to guard against bullies. Do we just dismiss bullying on the internet and all it entails because we're entering difficult ethical ground? Second, everything your child types can already be seen by the world. Teachers, potential employers, friends, neighbors, future dates. Shouldn't he learn now that the internet is not a haven of privacy? One of the most popular arguments against spyware is the claim that you are reading your teenager's every thought, that in today's world, a computer is the little key lock diary of the past. But posting thoughts on the internet isn't the same thing as hiding them under your mattress. Maybe you should buy your children one of those little key lock diaries so that they too can understand the difference. Am I suggesting eavesdropping on every conversation? No. With new technology comes new responsibility. That works both ways. There is a fine line between being responsibly protective and irresponsibly nosy. You shouldn't monitor to find out if your daughter's friend has a crush on Kevin next door, or that Mrs. Peterson gives too much homework, or what schoolmate snubbed your son. You are there to start conversations and to be a safety net, to borrow from the National Intelligence Lexicon, and yes, that's uncomfortable, you're listening for dangerous chatter. Let me explain that one real quickly. The National Intelligence Lexicon, the purpose of national intelligence is to look for like terrorism and stuff like that. And so he says using the vocabulary or the tactics of, counterterrorism to look at what your children are doing is a little bit difficult, okay? And you're listening for dangerous chatter. So you're not trying to get all the juicy stuff, just the harmful stuff. Will your teenagers find other ways of communicating to their friends when they realize you may be watching? Yes, but the text messages and cell phones don't offer the anonymity and dangers of the internet. They're usually one-on-one with someone you know. It is far easier for a predator to troll chat rooms and MySpace and Facebook. Parenting has never been for the faint of heart. One friend of mine using spyware to monitor his college-bound straight-A daughter found out that not only was she using drugs, but she was sleeping with her dealer. He wisely took a deep breath before confronting her. Then he decided to come clean, to let her know how he had found out, to speak with her about the dangers inherent in her behavior. He'd had these conversations before, of course, but this time he had context. She listened. There was no anger. Things seem to be better now. Our knee-jerk reaction as freedom-loving Americans is to be suspicious of anything that hints at invasion of privacy. That's a good and noble thing, but it's not an absolute, particularly in the face of the new and evolving challenges presented by the internet, and particularly when it comes to our children. Do you tell your children that the spyware is on the computer? I side with yes, but it might be enough to show them this article, have a discussion about your concerns, and let them know the possibility is there. Okay, guys, do you have any general questions or any questions at all about the article?
What are
Is this like
Ladies first.
what are chat rooms?
Okay, that's a good question. So chat rooms are usually related to like a specific interest. So like I've got a friend who is into rebuilding Volkswagens. And so there's a website, I think it's called the Samba, where Volkswagen people will get together and they'll write back and forth. So someone like will have a question and then someone else will answer it. And so when you get a chat room, you get like multiple people being able to respond to a certain question, and then they have these little conversations. So it's normally related around a specific subject. Okay, good question. What was the other question?
Is this like science fiction or is it like based on a true story, like an article?
No, this article is it's real. I mean, this guy really wrote this article about putting spyware on kids' computers. Now, one thing that's a little bit different is this is where it's a little bit out of date. It used to be that, you know, before the proliferation of cell phones, before everyone had a smartphone, the only place to access the internet was through computers, like a home computer, a laptop, or whatever. And so it is a little bit different now that everyone has their own smartphones, because everybody has their own individual access to the internet. And I believe that there are probably other measures where parents could monitor what their kids are doing. So we might need to update the idea a little bit. But no, this is a real thing. What other questions do you have? Okay, guys, let me stop recording.